On the first day, the team leader only gave him a not-so-new pair of headphones, then told him it was a gift, and also his weapon. But when he first picked up this so-called weapon, the sound that came from it was like this. Seeing the slightly awkward yet composed expression of the senior, Sohee thought this was just a rare occurrence, a mere coincidence of running into him. But what this flower season girl didn't expect is that this is just the tip of the iceberg of this enviable job. Sue is undoubtedly the luckiest recent graduate. While students in this vocational high school feel lost and helpless in a bleak job market, he was joyfully called into the office by the teacher, amidst envious gazes from classmates.
내 싫어하는데? 처음 듣는데?
여기가 한국통신 S+ 고객센터랍니다.
This is an opportunity to work in a telecommunications company, so Sohee signed the labor contract without hesitation. But on her first day, Sohee realized that this so-called large company was just the customer service firm, outsourced by a telecom company. Here, there is neither the scale he imagined large companies should have, nor the curious gazes a new employee like him should receive. Fortunately, the team leader in charge of their business was enthusiastic and thoughtfully assigned Sohee to a senior for support, so he could help her become familiar with the work. But Sohee never expected that the first call his senior made him answer would shatter his hopes for his first job. Sohee didn't understand why the client spoke so harshly to a stranger, but with the chief's explanation, he understood the reason.
자기가 걸 때랑 완전히 다르지. 그러니까 우리 일이 처음부터 끝까지 마인드 컨트롤이야. 우선 듣고 대답해드리고 최대한 지원하면서 고객들 마음 돌리고.
The subsequent meeting further amplified Sohee's resistance to the new work. After the meeting started, the branch manager reprimanded Sohee. Everyone in the company reprimanded them. Last week's performance ranking dropped to 4th, and they informed everyone that the company does not support unproductive employees. After the meeting, the team leader assigned a workstation to Sohee. This was Sohee's first time handling customer calls alone, so the team leader needed to sit next to her to provide guidance. Soon, the first call came in. Sohee responded to the customer with great enthusiasm, following the script from the guidebook. This is Sohee's first time trying to imitate a senior, doing everything to get the client to stay. And it's also the first time he faced personal attacks from a client. With no other option, the team leader had to terminate the call and assured the client that the disconnection process would be handled promptly. The poor start increased Sohee's aversion to this job immensely. During lunch, when the teacher brought another labor contract, he expressed his desire to quit. However, the teacher did not listen and continued to complain that the school's employment rate would drop and that Sohee's diploma might be withheld. Saying this, and being satisfied with Sohee's internship report, Dunalan marked it as very satisfactory. For the school's reputation and her own diploma, even if reluctant, Sohee still completed a full month. However, when he received his salary, he found that the agreed monthly salary of 1.6 million won turned out to be only 800,000 won. It wasn't until he found the team leader's theory and saw the contract with a clause about halving the intern salary that he understood the real reason the teacher had him sign the contract that day was the company's special recruitment. But it was a contract I signed myself, and Sohee can only complain when she rarely gets together with her classmates. The school sold them to outsourcing companies under such conditions for the sake of employment rates. But soon, even gathering with friends became an extremely luxurious act. One day, Senior Yu-jin suddenly panicked and stood up from his workstation. He had been scolded by a client for an hour, unable to cope with the pressure of performance and the client's abuse, which left Yu-jin completely shattered. The team leader hurried over to help, and he had to borrow the line to his own workstation. Only Sohee ran over to comfort Yu-jin in the office. But just as he was about to say something, the team leader's roar echoed in the office. Not surprisingly, this incident finally brought the person in charge, who usually only appears in video conferences, to the scene. He immediately sought support. Who is it? He wants to see who made 28 follow-up calls to a student studying for the bar exam to ensure that the client renews the contract.
녹음까지 다 해놨단다. 대군감 오시니까 지 가서 빌어. 이거 못 막으면 다 좆되는 거야. 어? 으이구 씨.
Since that day, unable to secure contract renewals for clients by any means, and facing real performance pressure, Sohee had never left work before 8 p.m. His emotions finally exploded under the urging of his teammates and the client's overwhelming demands at night.
나 내일 잠만 잘 건데.
어쩌라고, 씨.
시?
뭐 어쩌라고. 잠을 자든가 말든가 뭐 어쩌라고.
너 말 다 했어?
너는 아까부터 말 다 했잖아, 이 미친놈아. 하고 싶은 말이 뭐야, 이 변태 새끼야. 씨발.
Even urged him to hurry to the appointment, but because Sohee didn't respond, the friends dispersed. Before leaving, Sohee bowed to the team leader to say goodbye, but the team leader did not respond. He just sat alone at his workstation in a daze, without a place to go. Sohee thought of the dance studio she used to frequent. Dancing was once her dream, and she was the best dancer among the girls. But now he hasn't danced for several months, and can only watch the dance troupe members passionately sweating for their love, while he can only envyingly keep the beat for everyone. When leaving the afternoon market, it started to snow outside, marking the first snow of winter 2022. It feels like all displeasures have disappeared with this first snow. But the next day, when Sohee went to work after getting ready, she found the clan leader sitting in a car covered in white snow, having committed suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning a long time ago. Immediately, before Sohee could react to the shock, the police collected some information about the team leader's suicide. The management rushed through, and the transition of the new team leader quietly concluded, seeing everyone continuing as if nothing happened after a colleague's death. Indifferently doing her work, Sohee could no longer tolerate this job. During a rare moment of rest, she hesitated to tell her mother about resigning. However, thinking of their financial struggles and her mother's pride in her good internship, she couldn't bring herself to say it. Although the company strictly prohibits employees from attending the team leader's funeral, Sohee still cannot overcome her desire to pay her final respects to the team leader, who bore all the pressure for them.
어떻게 오셨어요?
저희 팀 팀장님이셨어요.
거기서 아무도 못 오게 한 거 아니에요?
죄송해요. 팀장님이 저희한테 정말 잘해주셨는데 죄송해요.
What the company can offer the team leader is just a cold promise letter placed at each workstation, unrelated to the leader's suicide and the company's inhuman policies. As long as you sign this commitment letter, the company will give each employee a bonus. Sohee just glanced at it and then put the promise document in the drawer. He is the only employee who didn't sign, but because of this, he received special attention from the new team leader.
여기 김소희 씨. 제일 심해. 이건 아무리 봐줘도 너무했죠, 그죠? 며칠만 더 지켜보고 다시 판단할 거야. 그 안에 보여줘야 돼. 실력을.
Appeal to emotions and reason. The next day, the team leader changed their approach and got Sohee to sign the commitment letter.
다른 직원도 생각도 해야지. 빨리 마무리하고 넘어가자. 그동안 너무 시달렸잖아. 어?
자, 김소희선, 이건 저희 쪽에서 드리는 거.
From that day on, Sohee seemed to have killed his former self inside. His performance soared, working hard even after others had left for the day.
우리 애가 죽어서 필요 없으니까 그냥 해지해 주세요.
Even hearing that the customer chose to cancel due to the death of their child, Sohee just paused for a moment and continued to persuade the customer to renew the contract. He doesn't know what emotions the stranger on the other end had when making the call, but he knows how many will be disappointed if he fails to achieve his targets and gets fired. That month, Sohee achieved first place in the branch's performance, but he never expected that the kindness he had given up and the social interactions he had abandoned would teach him a powerful lesson on payday.
이번 달에 350만 원을 받아야 되는데요?
The supervisor said that because Sohee is an intern, the bonuses offer the company stability and are distributed every month or two. The final explanation is that distribution will be
안
postponed.
그만두면 되지. 저금해놨다 생각하고 계속 열심히 하면 되지.
During the team building dinner, another intern who arrived a bit earlier revealed the truth that interns never receive bonuses, which completely angered Sohee. In the following days, he disregarded the supervisor's inquiries and efficiently processed all customer requests for account cancellations.
뭐 하는 거야?
一口水饺找到你假期的同事
아주 대놓고 회사행위를.
Ah, I can just hear their voice.
여기가 뭐 하는 데야?
지 돈 내고 인터넷
is
깐
she?
사람이 됐다고 끊어달라는데 뭘 그렇게 못 들어줘.
Earth.
위약금 내고라도
There are a
싫다고
few unmanned
끊어달라는데
places.
못 왔다고 28번씩이나 뺑뺑이 돌려서 못 끊게 해야 되냐고.
야! 하기 싫으면 하지 마.
Okay, hope to buy next time. If there's more, will you listen if I talk in front of you? Angels are here to help you. It's your 027. It's just a matter of having the right card. Everything was blocked before. That kind of weather is really scary.
인센티브나 깔겠지.
What does this phrase mean? Instant. Team with a gay girl. What she sees in the team dog. I instantly go back to my trauma when I think of the baggage. I'm a killer in the morning. A tradition tonight. I'm gonna give you a message for the police and I haven't got you. That day, Sohee boldly retorted the two-faced clan leader, even responding to his remark. Are you really that short on money? Completely pushed things to an irreversible point. That day, Sohee fiercely beat the clan leader. And from that day on, he was suspended for 3 days for being unproductive. He didn't dare to tell his parents why he wasn't going to work, just saying the company gave him a 3-day leave due to his good performance.
역시 대기업은 다르네. 사무실이나 경시라고.
But she doesn't realize she has serious mental problems. That day, she drank too much with her best friend and sat by the road to rest. By the time her friends sobered up, Sohee had already cut her wrist with a piece of glass.
가자. 야, 너 도대체 지금 술을 너무 많이 먹어갖고. 미안. 뭐라고? 들었어야지.
Due to the fight with the team leader, Sohee was called to school by the teacher, who expressed endless disappointment and criticized how Sohee's behavior could impact the school's employment rate, only caring about where juniors could find job resources after graduation. But he didn't understand why Sohee did this, nor did he ask what she had gone through. In the end, he expressed his disappointment, saying he thought Sohee was different from other kids, which is why he recommended this job to her. Friends called Sohee to join them for a meal. During the meal, Sohee was silent, but her friends didn't notice anything wrong. They just ate together and then went back to their own things. Sohee didn't know who to talk to about her issues. She recalled her partner from the lunch market, but the line was busy for a long time. On the way back, he passed a small bar where he could sit and drink, ordered 2 bottles of beer, and started drinking silently. Sohee sat in the small shop for a long time, until a ray of sunset illuminated his slippers, realizing it was time for him to leave. That day he walked in flip-flops for a long time, and the next day he had to return to the stressful job. This feeling kept pushing him to the shimmering reservoir, looking at the snowflakes falling from the sky. No one knows what Sohee is thinking, but he knows he must move forward. Sohee's body was discovered by a morning exerciser. When her parents came to clean the body, they were in shock for a long time after the white cloth was lifted before they broke down in tears. They couldn't believe that their daughter, who was alive just yesterday, would take her own life. The father chose to conduct an autopsy. The detective in charge collected Sohee's personal belongings. With a last stop at Sohee's company, he noticed the achievement board, which showed that Sohee had been first in performance last month. Yet the company suspended her without pay, explaining it was due to her alleged laziness and increased complaints.
매일 야근이고 너무 힘들다. 죽고 싶다. 그랬다던데. 글쎄요.
Then Yu-jin looked at Sohee's throne and did not notice anything unusual. Just at this moment, the autopsy report was released, ruling out the possibility of homicide, just as Yu-jin was planning to close the case. The appearance of his colleague Sohee made him realize that the case was not as simple as he imagined.
네?
Back at the police station, Zhen accessed the case of her former team leader. The leader wrote a confession before dying, stating that he did not fulfill his duties properly, hence choosing light injury. However, at that time, nothing unusual was found, and the family signed the agreement, so the case was handled without any issues. In these 2 years, those nerves were never properly connected. I can say my mother has gone back. Until John visited the clan leader's house, the clan leader's wife's uncle's diagnosis. This made Yu-jin feel that the case must be investigated further.
그래도 엄연히 내부 고발자신데 그렇게 명예가 실추돼서야.
그 회사에서 아저씨들이 와서 그 사람 어차피 산재로 갈 수가 없대요. 그 사람이 관리자였기 때문에 가해자나 마찬가지여서 안 된다. 저로서는 그냥 최대한으로 주는 돈 받고 입 다무는 게 그게 남는 거더라고요.
But even if everyone loses the courage to respond under various threats and temptations, the only one who persevered until the end, Sohee, indeed ended up like this. What makes Yu-jin unable to believe is that such a girl actually had a connection with him. They are members of a dance studio. The last time Sohee went there, Yu-jin was also present. She can't remember if she saw Sohee, but the recorded video shows that while they were dancing, Sohee was sitting quietly in the back, silently keeping the beat before sadly leaving. Sohee's father also provided evidence about Sohee's overtime and being underpaid due to her intern status. But when Yu-jin asked about the way Sohee cut her wrist that day, her father's answer truly shocked Yu-jin.
무슨 얘기 없었어요?
네?
그때는 어머니 아버지 같이 계셨잖아요. 뭐라고 한 얘기 없었어요?
몰랐어요.
The next day, Yu-jin came to the company again. He presented evidence of Sohee working overtime, but the explanation he received was that it was all voluntary, and they couldn't stop employees from working extra hours. But mistakes stem from Sohee's impatient personality and her excessive focus on money.
사실 피해는 우리가 입었어요. 이 일 때문에 회사 이거 얼마가 손해인데. 이거 말이에요. 이거 학교 측에 아주 강력하게 항의해야 될 사안이에요. 이렇게 문제가 많은 학생을 말이야. 사전에 아무 고지 없이 입사시킨 거니까.
Next, Yu-jin found Sohee's homeroom teacher, who said that Sohee had boasted about her low performance before her death and came to school to express gratitude to her mentor. He is an expressive and outgoing child, so he definitely did not commit suicide. I hope the police will intensify their efforts to find the real culprit and alleviate the impact of the child's supposed suicide on me. But from the school's computer, Yu-jin saw something unimaginable. Although the students have internships, none are related to their majors, and some jobs have been outsourced multiple times, resulting in very low pay. The principal's explanation is that this is all to meet the education department's target. If the employment rate isn't achieved, it will be even harder to attract students given the declining population.
이제 이런 일이 생겨서 점수가 더 깎여요. 아주 심각한 감점 사항이라고요. 걔 성질이 보통이 아니라고요. 학교 올 때도 다 뭐 책임지라고 그럴 거 아니에요. 아니 애 성질 별난 걸 가지고 왜 학교 지장님!
내 성질도 별나서 그런다, 씨발.
Due to media coverage of Yu-jin's investigation being labeled as excessive police scrutiny, it finally angered her superior. He couldn't understand why Yu-jin was so stubborn in her quest for the truth.
우리가 그걸 왜 파고 다니냐고. 노동청 교육청에서 할 일은
아니요! 조사해야 돼요! 그것을 조사해야 된다고!
애들이 죽어나가는데 취업률 노래나 부르고
이게 다 뭐야? 경찰 수사 대상 아니야?
Unwilling to accept it, Yu-jin went to the education office. The staff there told him that they only handle data management, and issues like school work arrangements and the existence of dual contracts should be addressed by the Labor Bureau. They have a competitive relationship with other education departments because if they fail to meet the employment rate targets here, the headquarters cannot allocate funding to them. In the end, the leaders can only shift the responsibility to the school, but they forget that a vibrant life was easily taken under their top-down pressure.
당신이 막을 수 있었잖아. 왜 아무 말도 안 했어? 왜 가만히 있었냐고.
적당히 하십시다. 일개 지방교육청 장학사가 뭔 힘이 있습니까? 그래서요. 이제 교육부 가실랍니까? 그 다음은요?
That day, returning, Yu-jin ordered 2 identical bottles of wine at the store where Sohee last visited. That day, like when Sohee decided to leave, a ray of sunset reached Yu-jin's feet. She suddenly understood why Sohee chose to leave, as she felt she had become the next Sohee. In the end, after going in circles, Yu-jin had to reluctantly return to the starting point. He accepted reality and finally signed his name on the case closure document. At the end of the case, he asked Soheen's mother a question.
소희가 춤추는 거 아셨어요?
처음 들어요. 몰랐어요. 그거밖에 몰랐어요.
Yu-jin didn't know whom to blame. It's not the professor's academic work, but rather reality. Should we blame companies for hiring not employees but livestock? Or should we blame departments for supervising not order but performance? Or maybe we should blame the contract for not protecting employees, but instead becoming the dark hand that brings them down. Blame the parents for teaching kids not to cause trouble, but not telling them that it's okay to not be so understanding. Haha. Life's path offers more than just moving forward or backward. When feeling dissatisfied, consider stepping back. You might realize that the only thing trapping you is your own mental turmoil.